Emergency podcast territory, guys. Post-game extravaganza also. We have blended the two in. The big news, it isn't that the Marlins are now 12-0 in one-run games to start the year. This team is historic. They are clutch. That isn't the biggest news. The biggest news, their number one prospect is being called up. Eury Perez will be making his Marlins debut on Friday at home in the teal against the Cincinnati Reds. Danny Rodriguez in the house to help me dig into all of this, and there's tons. This one could go long.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings from England and welcome to Locked On Marlins. This, of course, is your daily Marlins podcast. I'm your host, Peter Pratt. Hit me up, of course, on Twitter at @MiamiMarlins_UK. If you are listening to the pod, hit subscribe. It's free and available everywhere. Of course, it is your team every day. And thanks for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. This one probably will be the first listen of the day because this one is dropping early or late. Depends on your time zone. Doesn't matter. There is a YouTube channel. Head over to there. Hit subscribe. Also, we are trending on the user count, much like this Marlins team, no doubt about it. And if you are watching, you will see that Danny Rodriguez is here. Danny, how we doing, brother?
We're doing well, man. We're doing especially even more well now that we got a Marlins dub in the. We're at 500 and we're ready to go.
Fat dub, fat dub, series
Fat
win
dub.
In the desert. The boys, they love playing in this mountain time zone. I didn't even know the mountain time zone existed until I met Alex Ferrer. He said to me a few months back, Pete, I'm on mountain zone. I thought he was taking the piss. But the Marlins seem to play well in this time zone. Yeah, absolutely. Mate, we're going to dig into the game shortly because actually it was a wild game and a big win, actually. Really big win for this Marlins team after what's been an interesting road trip, but they're heading home. But really, the big news, the emergency podcast territory news, mate. Eury Perez is being not recalled. He's being promoted. He's getting the call. Yes, sir.
We're here to win ball games, Pete. And
yeah,
Eury
absolutely.
is one of the best arms in the entire organization. Honestly, I have no problem with it whatsoever. I have no problem with it because the next 3 games, and I think you posted a tweet about this, it's not exactly the 27 Yankees he's gonna be facing either.
No.
Like, it is a good opportunity to get him some big league innings and get his feet wet in the big leagues.
Yeah, I'm completely with you, mate. That's what I looked at. I knew obviously we had the Reds and Nats on deck, and that's why I was looking earlier in the week thinking this feels like a great spot to get Eury up and get him, like you said, just get his feet wet. We saw him at spring, like he stayed with the big club at spring, pretty much throughout the whole of spring training itself.
And we thought he was going to be starting at AAA, not even AA.
Yeah, there you go.
We thought it was a lock to be in AAA.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one, I guess, at the time. We're thinking it's a lock at AAA, goes down to AA. I guess the Marlins thinking, hey, we don't need AAA for Eury Perez. He's ready to rock and roll. I guess, from your perspective, mate, you've already touched on it. You've seen it, you feel it, you think he's ready. Just try to summarize what Eury Perez will be bringing to this Marlins rotation come Friday.
He's got it's one of the most advanced pitching repertoires you can have at 20 years old. He's 20. He literally just turned 20.
Insane.
In April, and he has 4 pitches. He's got the fastball, curveball, changeup, slider, and all 4 he can throw for strikes, and all 4 get crazy swing and miss. Touches 100 with regularity. He's 6'9". He is literally. If you wanted to build an ace from scratch, you would put together Eury Perez.
No doubt.
And he's never broken 100 innings before. Marlins are seriously been babying him, which makes sense. He's just super young, but this is a good opportunity for him to really show what he can do on a higher level. Because at this point, I feel like he's outgrown AA. He's absolutely mowing down hitters at AA. There was nothing else for him to prove. I thought he would have gotten promoted to AAA before the big leagues, but this is just screaming Jose Fernandez territory. Because Jose Fernandez, I don't even know if he touched AA or AAA before even getting called up. I think he got called up from high A.
I think you
So
did.
it's very reminiscent of what happened with Jose Fernandez, and I'm just super excited.
100%. How do you like the move though from Kim and the organization to just say, "Hey, listen, it's Eury time now. Let's get him up." Like it feels bold, it feels brave. Like I feel like this is a real good sign for the Marlins this year.
I mean, I like that they can really pivot. I mean, Kim's showing that she can pivot with, okay, Cueto's down and now Trevor's down and Eddie is, we can get to Eddie later, but Eddie is now all of a sudden a question mark. It's like, well, the pitching depth that we thought we had, now we're going to have to reach into our bag a little bit. You know what? Let's just call up our stud prospect and see if we can win some ball games and take a couple series with him in the rotation, which I totally love.
Yeah.
Because these games matter. It may not be August and September, but these games matter. And Kim, I don't think she wants to be selling at the trade deadline. I think she wants to win, and she wants to see what a team with guys like Jorge Soler, if we keep them playing very well, what this team can do over 162, not just over 81.
Yeah, agreed. You know, with the team, the way it's at, and a few of the key names, you know, there's a decent chance if they're out of it, they'll have to sell these guys, right? And that's the point.
Yeah, exactly. So
exactly
it's important to compete in the first half, because then you give yourself a shot. Maybe you can reinforce. You give yourself a lot more options. But if you're 20 games under 500 at the deadline, you have no choice but to trade these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm intrigued. You touched on it, the innings piece, and this is something me and Sean Barrett spoke about, I think, earlier in the week when we were thinking about if Eury does get the call. You know, I think the phrase you used there, the Marlins have babied him and have looked after him in the minor leagues. How many, you know, let's say Eury drops in now, it's, you know, early-ish May. He lights it up. Jose Fernandez vibes. He lights it up. You know, are the Marlins really going to shut him down after 100 innings if they're in the hunt? Like, I'm not convinced that's the pathway they'll go. What about you?
You know, so he's pitched in 2021, 2022. I think it was 80 innings he's pitched. Last year, he had a little bit of arm fatigue at the end of the year. He struggled a little bit. And so that's basically what he's been capped at. So, I mean, the next logical progression would be in the low 100s, which, I mean, if you told me at the beginning of the year, listen, Eury Perez gets 100 plus innings in the big leagues, I would have signed up for it 100%. I didn't think it would come up this early, but I think that's more of a cross that bridge when you get there kind of scenario. If he is absolutely dealing after 100 innings, I mean, it's going to be hard to take him off the field. It's kind of like, I don't know if you remember Steven Strasburg, his rookie year.
Yeah.
They were in the playoff hunt and he had an innings limit and they shut him down in the playoffs. And that's just the way they decided to handle it. And I could see that happening with Eury, but that's a good problem to have. Listen, our stud 20-year-old ace is dealing and he's hitting his innings limit in the big leagues that year. I think it's a good problem to have.
Absolutely. Wouldn't it be wild if the Marlins make the postseason? They have an innings limit on Eury Perez. They shut him down, and to take his spot in the rotation, Sixto Sanchez emerges. Holy smokes! Can you imagine Chichi strolling out there in Game 3?
Oh my God, Sixto, poor guy.
Yeah, Sixto, baby. I saw some disappointing news again. It felt like his pathway was trending in the right direction again, and then I think some sort of, you know, setback again has flamed up, and it feels like that probably takes the wind out of 2023 for Sixto, I guess. But boy, oh boy, it's been a long road back for that guy, right?
I feel terrible for the guy. It's just to come back from a surgery that serious. It takes a lot, and he put in the work, and he lost a lot of weight, and he's just so talented, and it sucks to see a guy like that not even be able to get back on the field in 2 years now. I mean, I just feel terrible. And obviously from an organizational perspective, it's been extremely disappointing because you see JT Realmuto with the big contract extension, and he's helping the Phillies make the World Series and all that stuff. And of course, our catching production since JT has left has been literally the worst in baseball. So obviously we lost the trade, but I just feel for Sixto because, I mean, obviously he's a good guy, and you just wish the best for everybody to have success in the big leagues. We guys with that kind of talent, it's hard. I don't know if we'll ever see Sixto on a major league mound again.
No. At this point in time, if you're a betting man, you'd say probably not, which, you got to feel for the guy. And like you said, he put the body of work in, slimmed down, Odd year, skinny Sixto, I guess, but we haven't seen it thus far. Thinking about Eury Perez specifically for Friday and the start, what do you expect him? He hasn't been going over 80 pitches or so, I don't think, at Double-A. So you think the Marlins probably stick with that, right? Maybe he gets 5 innings of work, 80 pitches potentially, something like that. Kind of a breezy.
Cap, yeah. I think so. They really haven't let him go past 90. I think has been the cap for him, and I really don't see them steering away from that because you see all these pitchers. There's been an insane increase, and Danny Alvarez Montes, he tweeted a spreadsheet about this earlier. There's been just a crazy amount of arm injuries this year, especially pertaining to the pitch clock.
Yeah,
Eury obviously has spent his entire career with the pitch clock because he just came from the low minors, and the low minors have had the pitch clock for a while. Maybe he's a little more accustomed to it, but it's important to be very cautious with an arm of this caliber. And I can totally understand if the Marlins are like, our bullpen is fantastic. If Eury can give us 5 clean innings, we'll take our chances with the bullpen and go from there.
Yeah, no doubt. There won't be an opener for Eury Perez, right?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
No, Matt Barnes can have a seat.
Tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, that's another wrinkle here, right? You've got a flashback Friday. The boys will be in teal. Eury Perez making his debut.
Yes.
Perfect time. I'm excited to see what the Marlins marketing and PR department come out with in the next couple of days because there's been a couple of bum moves, I would say, in that area with ticket sales promotions. But I don't think even they can fumble this one, right?
Yeah, it'll be hard. All you have to do is just post Eury Perez's face and every corner, and you should sell some extra tickets.
There you go. Time for our first ad, and then we can transition into today's game. And I think there's some positives to take, and also we need to talk about Edward Cabrera. It's right. We actually spoke about him last time you were on the pod in positive lights, and there's still some positives, but there's definitely a couple of little negative elements of Eddie Cabrera. But before we do that, it's time to let you know about our good friends over at Gametime. And they have graphics too. So for those watching, you get the graphics too. Look at that. Kind of almost teal. We'll see. And this is all about tickets, guys. If you're looking for last-minute tickets, these are the boys for you. No doubt about it. Funny you mentioned that. I've just procured some tickets, last-minute tickets, to the Roland Garros tennis, the French Open, for a couple of weeks' time, which I'm very excited about. Anyway, forget planning months in advance, and you know me, I definitely wouldn't do that. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. You can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. I'd be absolutely hitting it up for that Marlins game on Friday, no doubt. The Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Can't say fairer than that. Get images of the seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All you have to do, pretty simple. You download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. You can download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Love that strapline as well. Absolutely love that. Okay. Positives. Let's start with them. The Marlins won a game. They won a series. They came from behind. I mean, actually, they took the lead and then they kind of fumbled it, and we'll talk about why they did that. Right. But they came from behind. They got a big run in the ninth.
Feels like Joey a 0-0 game, and you score. It's coming from behind when it comes to the Marlins. But yeah,
you know it. They love a come from behind win. That seems to be their MO. They handed over to Puck in the ninth, and Puck strikes out the side actually as well. The exclamation point there from Puck. But listen, these Marlins 12-0 in one-run games. I don't recognize them. Do you recognize them? What is going on here?
I feel like I'm being punked right now with how good the bullpen is. Like, honestly, like this has never happened. Doubt. I feel like Ashton Kutcher is about to come around the corner and tell me I'm on a reality TV show with how unreal this is. This like 12-0 run game. What's going on? This is the Marlins. They notoriously screw everything up. This is awesome. Like we have a lead in the 8th and 9th. You go Braz, Floro, or Puck. It's like those three guys have been absolutely nails. I know Puck struggled in Chicago. That was not his fault. AJ Puck has been absolutely nails.
Amazing.
Like you can't ask for anything more out of him. He is a fantastic closer to have.
No doubt about it. The interesting bit just on Puck, and something that's flared up, I would say, on Twitter today, interesting talking point, JJ Bleday absolutely raking for the A's as well. You still happy with that deal, though?
I'm happy with the deal because guess what? JJ Bleday can now be a good baseball player now that he's not in Miami.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the Miami curse, there's something going on. You leave, you automatically start raking. Very happy for JJ. Sucks that he's in Oakland, somehow a worse fan base than Miami, but I'm happy he's having success at the big league level.
Yeah, no doubt. And you're right on that point. I mean, who would want to be playing for the A's right now? That's an absolute mess over there, no doubt.
Yeah.
When you look over and see that the Marlins are the more or the better situation and fan base, then that's a real bad situation. But overall, like you said, Park, the pen, it's just been nails. This pen has just absolutely drove this team forward all year. And they've, if they get a lead, they're hanging on to it in impressive form. Like you said, they had a couple of little blips in Chicago, some fielding errors, the sun, all this kind of stuff going. But overall, mate, they're a 500 club at this point. And I feel like the rotation still hasn't hit its stride. Maybe the Eury Perez injection will kind of help. The offense hasn't really hit its stride. It's basically been a riot. There's a couple of home runs from Jorge Soler and a couple of stolen bags from Jazz. Really, this team isn't clicking yet, but they're a 500 club at this point. Like, they're hanging tough, and I think Skip Schumacher's got a lot to do with this, mate, to be honest. What about you?
I mean, I think the aura of the team is just different than when Donnie was manager. And I mean, Skip just seems like such a player's coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's just 24/7. He's behind you. He's behind you the entire way. Just he's got your back, and at the same time, he knows when to hold somebody accountable. It's not you're getting off scot-free if you make a mistake, or if it's something on the mental side of the game. He'll make sure to check you when you need to be checked, and that's kind of like it's like the ebb and flow of being a manager. It's about managing how to handle your team. And I think Skip at this point, he's a rookie manager, but I think he's doing a really good job. And he's just a baseball guy through and through. He just knows how to handle people, and he knows the game and how to manage the bullpen.
Yeah, no, I mean, the bullpen management for certain. I mean, he's an 80 grade for that at the
80
moment.
Grade. On the scouting scale, he's 80. Yeah, 100%.
No doubt, 80 on that. And Kim spoke really highly. I mean, Kim would speak highly. I mean, she hired him, and he started well. But Kim was, waxing lyrical about Skip as well. And yeah, to your point, I think that word, the accountability, that is the word that stands out for me with Skip. Like, he's not afraid to just fire shots, in public if they need to be fired. And I love that about Skip, no doubt. Joey Wendell today, big knock, mate. What I didn't realize, he's had 2 big knocks in the last couple of games.
Yep.
There is only 2 hits of the year. Big hits in big spots, but boy, oh boy, Wendell, it's good to see him coming alive, but they need something more out of Wendell, I think, moving forwards.
Absolutely. Garrett Hampson has been he's a guy, like he's just someone that's there. But Joey Wendell, he's had a track record of being extremely solid against right-handed pitching. Yeah. I think if we can get Joey back to like his last 2 years with the Rays against right-handed pitching, I don't see why he can't be a serviceable shortstop. Obviously, he's not anywhere near superstar material, but he could be a very solid 6 or 7 hitter in the lineup. Yeah. And he's just gotta stay healthy, and I think he's just a vet. So you give him at bats, he'll give you 270 average, 320 on base, and he'll add a couple dingers in there. But you just have to keep in the lineup every day, and you just have to stick with it and trust that the veteran presence that he is will come through in the end.
Yeah, no doubt. You mentioned Garrett Hampson as well. Yesterday, Takes was on the show, and at one point, I think he was trying to extend Garrett Hampson at one point.
And we moved on the Jeezy with the extension. We're off Max and we're on the Jeezy.
He's all over Jeezy, and Jeezy today, it was just vintage bomb. Oh my days. When this guy is hot, mate.
That was insane.
It was insane, mate. I mean, like 440 dead center into the camera wells. Like he's smashing cameras up now and all sorts. This is insane from Jesus. What an impressive turnaround, mate. Because he was in DFA territory, no doubt about it. I think at one point.
Eli from Fist Stripes, he had an article and he tweeted about it. He's like, before the article was DFA territory. After the article, hitting almost 400. It's like, was that the turning point? I was at the Marlins game last Sunday. I screamed at Jeezy, dale que tu puede. Hey, you're the guy. You got this. And he started raking that. Was I a part of it? Who knows?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
You need to start speaking to Mean Gene Segura then rapido, I'd say, brother.
I don't know if my voice carries that far. I was in right field. Maybe I could scream at him next time with a little more carry and maybe he'll hear me. But yeah, Jeezy. I love Jeezy. I think his personality is amazing. After the 2021 season, I was all aboard the hype train. Yep. Just very disappointing. Could be like a post-hype sleeper, like in terms of performance. He's just grinding at bats. I do think there's a little bit of disappointment in terms of the pitches that he's missing. I mean, I've been watching a little bit of his at bats. He's missing some hittable pitches, but in the end, the result of the at bat is positive. Yep. So it's hard to really complain too much about that because at the end of the day, he's getting the job done and he's hitting the ball extremely hard, like seriously extremely hard. Like I don't have the stats in front of me, but I mean, that home run was 110 off the bat and he had another double oppo today on a fastball right down the middle.
Yep.
Like last year, Jeezy, guarantee he wouldn't have even made contact with those pitches.
No way.
He was over swinging like just an insane amount. And I feel like he's starting to figure out that, listen, 70% of your swing, it will suffice. It will suffice because you are a strong kid and you can generate a ton of bat speed if you just swing 70% of effort. And I mean, it's showing, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. I mean, this hot streak, whatever the reason is, however it's turned around, I don't know. Is it Eli's article? Is it Danny Rodriguez, giving him the pep talk? Who knows? But it is glorious to see. And it's, it's what the Marlins have needed, like finding this lefty stick that's, in the heart of the order that can actually deliver doubles, extra base hits, home runs, and fun. And personality, like it's a great mix, and he's a kid that everyone wants to see do well.
100%.
That's part of it too. Part of it too. Let's do the next ad. Then let's talk about Edward Cabrera, mate, because the walks way too much, too much. The stuff insane. But let's talk about that, and also let's talk about some Jesus Luzardo as well. He went a couple of days back as well. And looking nice, but I know you've got some things you wanted to cover on him. So let's get into the next ad. It's our good friends over at Sorare, and these boys also have some graphics too. Boy, absolutely pumping the graphics. Look at these. Woo! Sorare Graphics, and it's our new sponsor, relatively new anyway. And it's a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 major league teams. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, Sorare managers truly own their fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. Win or lose, you still own your cards, and there's no cost to play. It's free. Sounds amazing, right? Game weeks happen twice weekly, span a 3-4 day cycle. At the end of the game week, Sorare managers who rank at the top or near top of their leaderboards win a variety of rewards, which can include Sorare scarcity cards, game tickets, merchandise, signed jerseys, and VIP experiences like meeting MLB stars. Prizes may vary depending on the competition. So pretty simple. All you have to do is head to sorare.com/lockedon. Reminder, that's sorare.com/lockedon. It's spelled so as in S-O and rare as in R-A-R-E.com. Sorare.com. Got it? Draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, start competing today to win those epic, that's bold and underlined, epic rewards. Again, sorare.com/lockedon to start playing today. Absolutely nailed that ad, by the way. I have to just call it out. I often botch that one, but I've
80 grade
80 grade ad reads. It's 2 minutes to midnight here in the UK after the Marlins have just won a game. But we are here podcasting
Put in that
emergency
work.
podcast. We are working, baby. We're eating. Edward Cabrera. I felt like he was eating a touch too much heading into spring. He looked a little bit chunky. He then seemed to settle into the groove. But overall, talk to me about Eddie, because last time we spoke, mate, we spent a ton of time talking about his repertoire, and you were waxing lyrical. I don't think that's changed, but the walks are a major concern this year, right?
It's become an insane concern to the point where you wonder if he would benefit for some time in Jacksonville to really hone in on the command of his fastball and his curveball. Honestly, it's become a problem where you don't know who you're going to get. Are you going to get the 3 shutout innings with 5 Ks and no walks, or are you going to get the 4 straight walks, including balking in a run, in the next inning? That's not big league caliber. And he showed after just the terrible start to the season, his first 2 starts, I think he had like 11 walks. It's like, okay. He showed signs of improvement in the last 4 or 5 starts in terms of the walks, a ton of swing and miss, a ton of strikeouts, exactly what you want to see from a guy like Eddie.
Yep.
And then just totally regresses back to the first 2 starts. In literally 1 inning, now we're starting to call in the question, is he trustworthy at every 5th day as a rotation piece? And it's extremely disappointing because he's got the stuff. He's got the high velocity fastball. He's got the insane power changeup. He's got the devastating hook. This guy has the potential to be Sandy.
Yep.
He has the potential to be Sandy Alcantara. But Sandy has way more command of his pitches than Eddie does. And it's going to take time. I do believe Eddie will turn into a 2 or 3 starting pitcher. He showed last year that he has that ability.
Yep.
But it's just the inconsistency that's killing him right now. And hopefully Mel Stoudemire can work his magic again, because we need him.
In Mel we trust, baby. In Mel we trust. Like, it's if there's a guy to fix it,
if there's a guy to do it.
Yeah, no doubt on that. I'm intrigued on this. Just the Eddie. I mean, today's game was just like the perfect game, right? It's just his whole season in the space of 4 innings, 3 studs, strikeouts galore, 1 dud, walks galore, including a balk, runs everywhere, gives up the lead.
Story of the season.
Yeah, story of the season, mate. Interesting point, though. He does have, and this is, I guess, a storyline coming into the year. We thought he didn't have any minor league options, and then the Marlins went and got a special dispensation, and they actually added in another minor league year. So they do have that flexibility now if they need it. And I guess if Eury comes up, does his thing, I mean, okay, do you lean on Brian Hoeing again? I don't know. But, you know, could this give the opportunity to Eddie to go down, work on some stuff away from the pressure cooker? Or do you maybe think, hey, listen, the Reds, Nats, Rockies are all on deck here. Let's see if he can work through it at the big league level, but a tier down from facing the Braves and the Mets, let's say. I don't know. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I think they have a decision to make, though, right?
Definitely. I think the biggest decision is, are they okay with writing out an opener, a bullpen day every 5th day? Because that's essentially what Eury is taking over at this point. And then if you send Eddie back down, you're essentially just flip-flopping and you're not replacing the bullpen day.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what we're looking at, like in theory. Obviously, the days aren't lining up 100%, but that's like in theory what would be happening. They might give Eddie a couple more chances to figure it out. I mean, I think he's earned a little bit of a leash, honestly, with how well he performed last year.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would be as quick of a hook as we might think. And also the fact of the matter is Max Meyer is out for the year. Jake Eder, we thought he would be in AAA at this point, but he's still recovering from foot surgery. So he's not even in the picture at this point.
No.
And after that, like, who are we really looking at? We're looking at Dan Castano. We have we have some young guys in AA, like Pat Monteverde, who's out of nowhere become fantastic in AA, or Dax Fulton, and he's not ready at all at the big league level.
No.
So depth has all of a sudden become a big issue for the Marlins, and it's a big decision what they should do with Eddie. Honestly, it's going to be a tough decision.
It is, mate. You're right, and it doesn't help. Obviously, the Johnny Cueto situation. One inning of work for Johnny Cueto. He comes
Oh
back
my
in
God.
AAA
Just
and
it was
not the best
brutal.
start. Yeah, not. I mean, how do you see this playing out for Johnny Cueto here with the Marlins? Like, are they going to get anything out of him this year at all?
I think they will, but the velocity is an issue right now.
Yeah.
He cannot be in the big leagues throwing 86, 87. There's very few pitchers who can get away with that.
Yep.
And I don't think Johnny Cueto is one of them. And it's disappointing, honestly, because Johnny coming off a fantastic 2022 season, and he was supposed to be like the veteran presence to get you some innings, but at this point, you're hoping he makes a little bit of a comeback, but not in the near future, I don't think.
Trevor Rogers down as well. Jesus Luzardo, mate, he's had to step up. Like, obviously, Pablito traded too. So, listen, the Marlins believed in Jesus Luzardo. He started the year hot, had a couple of sticky starts in between. Bounced back as well this week. What have you made of Jesus Luzardo this season?
I think the faith the Marlins put in Jesus Luzardo showed by them willing to let go of Pablo and Jesus step into the number 2 spot. And I think he's been very good. I think he's left some to be desired, honestly. If you look at, so what we want out of Jesus is a little bit more depth, going a little bit deeper into games. Yep. And at this point, it's really risky to let him go see the lineup a third time. First time through the lineup, he's absolutely bonkers. He is fantastic. Second time through, I looked at the stats. His ERA is in the low 3s. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Fantastic. Third time through the order, before this past start, ERA through the third time in the order was in the 10s.
Oh,
and that's a problem.
Jesus.
His ERA through the third time in the order is in the 10s. And even he got through clean. He got through unscathed against the Diamondbacks. But if you look at the batted ball data, I was looking at this before we hopped on. He gave up singles at 107 exit velo, 109 exit velo, gave up a fly ball, 100 exit velo. He's getting barreled through the third time through the order way more than the first and second time. And so there's an adjustment that needs to be made. I don't know if it's fatigue. I don't know if it's his stuff gets picked up a little bit easier as the game goes along. But it should be on Mel Stoudemire's radar as something to, I guess, brainstorm. How can we get through the third time through the lineup with a little bit more efficiency and effectiveness?
Yeah, no doubt, mate. Third time through the lineup with a 10 ERA. I mean, we're in opener territory here with Jesus Luzardo. The Marlins are going to go with 4 openers with this rotation and Sandy. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, I was very surprised to see that, and I know he is extremely capable of being a going deep into the game kind of arm. He has the stuff, so it's all about executing and putting it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be wrong of me not to talk some Jazz Chisholm Jr. with you, brother. It's
my favorite player.
Let's go. I knew it, mate. I knew it. And it would be, we need to talk some Jazz. Just give me a sense of what you've seen from Jazz this season. There's 2 parts of this. There's the offensive Jazz and there's the glove and the defensive Jazz, obviously transition at the center. I think clearly the defensive situation, I think, has been better than most expected, I think, is the general 100%. Assessment. Yeah, no doubt. He looks to be a legitimate big league center fielder right now at this point, right?
Yes. And to his credit, I mean, he's made amazing plays, and the data supports it. He has been fantastic defensively in center field, and it just goes to show, I mean, you put in the work, if you have the talent, you can make it happen. So very happy for Jazz that he's made that transition. I'm an undercover Jazz fan. On Twitter, I roast him because that's the only way he plays well, is if people hate him on the timeline. I am an undercover Jazz fan, and I really hope he does well. He's been cutting down the strikeouts. Yesterday, he had a fantastic day. Today, he was putting the ball in play. He was working good counts. If he can just get the strikeout rate, he puts the ball in play, the average exit velocity, and just the talent he does when he puts the bat on the ball. It's that of one of the best players in the game. But you can't showcase that if you're putting the ball in play only 60% of the time.
Yep.
Like, if you're striking out that much, it's a problem. And as a leadoff hitter, you have to be the spark plug. And if you're getting sent back to the dugout 35% of the time without even getting the ball put in play, that's not sparking anything. That's not instilling confidence in the rest of the lineup. So he has been playing a lot better of late. I hope he gets hot soon, and it would be fantastic to have a full lineup of a hot Jazz, a healthy Coop, Soler, Arise doing his thing, and Jeezy. That would be a fantastic top 5.
Yeah.
And yeah, so hopefully, I just hope Jazz figures it out soon, because I mean the Marlins really, really need him to play well in order to keep winning games.
Yeah, they do. Kim spoke about it on the broadcast today as well, just how important Jazz is, and exactly the point you just made. Is there a 9-WAR player in Jazz Chisholm Jr. in a single season, clearly, but is there a 9-WAR guy there?
9-WAR is Aaron Judge territory, Shohei Ohtani territory. The confidence is what kills Jazz, because it creates this negative energy when he doesn't play well. Listen, man, I just wish he could back up the talk, but I think there's an all-star level player in Jazz. I think there's a 6-WAR player in Jazz, and that is a fantastic ceiling to have. And I really hope he gets there, because he is so fun to watch when he's on his game. And when you're tweeting 9-WAR and you come out with a 600 OPS and a 40% strikeout rate, I mean, you're asking for it at that point in terms of the negative media coverage. Like, come on, bro. Have a little bit of feel. Like, let's just play baseball here.
Exactly. I think maybe he's made the sensible approach, or his girlfriend has taken the sensible approach and said, "Jazz, listen, take some time off Twitter, brother. It's take a seat."
If I was playing for the Marlins, I wouldn't even have Twitter. Why would I care what @NotDrod has to say on Twitter? Like, who am I to him? Like, why is he even interacting with guys like us? Like, bro, you're a professional baseball player. Go play. We're here because we're watching you play.
Exactly.
Like, we're fans. You go, like, don't interact with us. We're shitheads. Like, bro.
I'm completely with you, mate. If I was a pro anything in sports, I would not be on Twitter at all. There's no good of it. There's no good that can come of that situation.
It's cesspool of negativity. I've always said it's where 100%. I thrive.
Exactly. Many of us do in that situation, no doubt. Is there any guys that you particularly wanted to call out? We've only got a minute or two left here to go, but is there any other guys you wanted to call out? Good, bad, indifferent in the first kind of 35 games here for the Marlins?
Huascar Brazoban. I mean, come on. The guy shows up out of nowhere and he has been fantastic. I love the guy. I think he's fantastic. I love his stuff. I love his energy on the mound. That's all I got to say. Just a quick shout out.
Had to be done. What a stud. I don't know where they found this dude, and they've got him under control for until he's 40, because he's in his mid-30s.
He's on the older side, which, I mean, it's fine.
It's fine. Nothing wrong with that. We shouldn't forget it. I'm 40 this year, so, everyone's feeling good.
Atta baby.
There you go. Exactly. All right, Danny, that's been a lot of fun. Emergency podcast with Eury Perez news. The Marlins have won a series. They've gone 12-0 in one-run games. Mate, this is sensational. What a podcast. Mate, for those listening and don't have the graphics to help them, where can people, if they aren't already, follow you on Twitter, mate, for that entertainment?
NotDrod, baby.
There you go. Jazz is following him, I'm sure. I know he is.
Yeah. Jazz, if you're listening to this, follow me on Twitter, bro.
Yeah, you know it. All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap us up for Thursday's episode. Thanks for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. Of course, I'll be back on Friday because, yes, this is a daily podcast. And on Friday, we will have Danny DeVivo in the house, and he will be hyping up. When I think of Eury Perez, I think of Danny DeVivo. Those two names are forever connected in my mind. He's the first guy that ever introduced me to that guy. And it feels perfect, right, to bring him on the show to hype the life out of Eury Perez in advance of his debut on Friday. We'll see you then.